My name's Steve. I'm the Partner Marketing Manager for Sage Canada, and it's my pleasure to introduce our panel today of Sage colleagues. So we have Daniel O, our VP of Sales, Rahul Bashi, who's the Director of the InLife marketing team, and James Hall, who you met earlier, who is our VP of Channel Sales. So if I could just ask them maybe to give a brief introduction of what their role is in Sage and how they interact with BAS.
So again, my name is Daniel Lowe. I lead our new business teams at Sage in Canada. So I've been with Sage for over 20 years. So I've been with these products for a very long time, and I'm essentially here to help answer any questions that you may have. Thanks for having me.
All right. Compared to Daniel here, I'm a little pup. But my name is Rahul Bakshi, so I am the director of Medium InLife, so managing our install base, which is yourselves, the customers. I've been with Sage for coming up on 8 years. Again, my relationship with BAS is to help you guys and help them, make sure that you guys are successful and getting the most out of you guys' investment with Sage.
We're weirdly sitting in chronological order. I've been with Sage for 7 years now. I lead a team of channel executives, and what the channel executive ultimately does is work with BAS in terms of navigating Sage. Sage, as you know, is a global company. It's large. It's got a lot of products, a lot of complexity to it. Navigating a company like that can be really, really difficult. And so what the channel executives do is really bring efficiency to the process in terms of being able to help you. Your engagement with BAS helps to be able to define your requirements, ensure that you're getting the right solution, and then in terms of being able to provision that, deliver that, making sure that the process of getting it to you is as efficient as possible, and that's ultimately the goal of the channel executive team.
All right, great. Thanks, James. So let's open it up. You're all here to meet Sage Canada. Do you have any questions for our panel here to get started with? Anything you wanted to know?
I was in the previous session about reporting, and one of the things that I learned is that Sage Enterprise Intelligence can do the real-time reporting. So without knowing that, we actually did reach out to BAS about real-time reporting. So is this the only solution? Like if we wanted to get real-time reporting, we have to get the Sage Enterprise Intelligence. Is that the solution?
So I'll start it off and then hand it to Daniel. It starts with what solution you're in. So if you're talking about Sage 300 specifically,
300, yes.
then yeah, that's exactly how you deliver the real-time reporting within that, because it's the only system that's really pulling consistently and pinging kind of the other data sources to be able to pull it together.
Okay, and does it applicable to all modules within Sage? Like the only reason we went to BAS just for the purchasing module, but I learned today that you can expand it to the accounting module or the reporting module. So is it across the board, like all the modules can accommodate?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm going to let Daniel take it from this because I don't want to say things that, I want to be accurate, right?
So the short answer is yes. The beauty of Sage Enterprise Intelligence, it doesn't just connect to your Sage 300 solution. It can also connect to other disparate data sources. So let's say you have a spreadsheet you want to pull in and combine with the data. You can do those types of things. So it's a very powerful tool. They are outside, and they have a booth that says Nectari. And I would go and visit them and see, and they'll be able to take you through all the details.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So first off, I don't work for Sage, but
Yes, you do.
But I do. So my question is for the three of you. So we kicked off our fiscal in October. I want to know from each of you what you're most excited about for FY23 into the end of fiscal this year and why.
So I'm really hoping that I don't steal Daniel's thunder on this because he's lived it and I'm just seeing it. But one of the things that Joe talked about at the very beginning was the very beginning with ACPAC and it's starting that. And we are seeing that again with Sage Intacct. And, you know, all of our products have a place, and we always lead with the right product for the right vertical. That's incredibly important. But what I'm really excited is there's something, you know, new and innovative, and it's changing the game, and it's really enabling customers and businesses, small businesses and medium-sized businesses that we deal with in Canada in a way that we haven't been able to do with our more traditional products like 300 and X3, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo exactly what James said, right? Like, I'm excited about, you know, just the investment that Sage is putting in to our products and the way that technology is forcing us to relook at the way we look at our business, right? Like, we now have AI. Everybody's heard of ChatGPT. Everybody's heard of the new things that are coming out, right? It's now forcing us to take a look at our business to then see how we can use all this new technology to advance, like, you know, the products that we deliver to yourselves, right? And how you guys can utilize them to accelerate your business. So that, for me, is what I'm really looking forward to and how we utilize that.
So my answer's similar, but a little bit different. So I've been in this industry for over 20 years, and I've seen the technology change over the years. And some of the things that you'll see our products do in the near term are things that I've never seen before. Like, for example, Mark covered some of the artificial intelligence and machine learning. Like, there's one of the features that I saw recently was around, let's say you import your expenses in, and if you make a mistake and you accidentally type an extra zero, the software now can detect that and call out that outlier and tell you that was a mistake. Where historically that would go through your GL and you'd have to do reverse transactions, and it creates a mess. So little things like that seem like small innovations can make a big difference in your business. So that's what's most exciting from my standpoint. I'm seeing Sage do things like this to really help your businesses become more efficient and ultimately allow you to drive more, I'm going to say, higher value work in your business. I think that's a really important distinction.
So, you know, between the three of us, the only guy up here with gray hair, my dad was born in 1929 and did accounting for Gulf Oil. It tells you how long ago it was. He had ledger books in his office, you know, and I remember those days and the number of times that you'd see things scratched out and rewritten and the amount of time it just took to be accurate. You know, just time being spent just to get the information accurate. And you know, now the Office of Finance is really moving to much more of a strategic position and being able to help, you know, sit at the table, help make decisions that are really driven by business insights. And it's got to be rewarding for financial offices as well as, you know, all decision makers inside of a company. And to be part of that and helping to enable that's very exciting and rewarding for us.
Hi. I just had a couple of questions. We're running Sage 300 since 2021, and my question is in regards to like some of the issues or expansions that we're looking for. So I got three things, sorry, and I just want to know who do I reach out to, or if it's coming in the future, is it you or maybe one of the other partners? And one of them is the email copies of the pay slips. So I run payroll, sorry, and the email copy of the pay slips, we're able to email as we're doing payroll, it goes out, but sometimes it's missed or they don't find the email, and we're not able to email out that secure copy with the password protected. Now we do print a copy, but then it's not password protected again. Are we looking, who should I be asking questions to in looking into something where we're able to run that slip again to send back out? Or who do I question about that?
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to your question, but you want to answer that?
Beyond the point where you run them, right? Once you post the payroll, they're gone. They're in history, but the slips don't exist. So the idea will be to have those uploaded to a secure portal where employees can access them on demand whenever they like. And so you won't need to be worried about password protected emails and things like that. So that is coming.
Okay. And sorry, it's three parts. And my next question is regards to when I'm running the Relev report, sometimes I'm running into errors. It doesn't run through, and a lot of it is through the employee file. There's errors in their address. Now, when you get the error report, it doesn't tell me who it is. I need to run the report, load it into Excel, try to figure out what kind, and with the help of, actually, I think Christy, we're able, look for things that I can identify based on last year's. So I'm looking through for anything that triggers that error. Is there any way for that report, or who do I look to again, for the report to tell me which employee is causing the error?
I also don't know the answer to that either. But what I do want to say is, there's a few resources that are available to you. One, first and foremost, is you have the BAS team that's here to help answer those technical questions. Second, Raul has a team that is account management based in Toronto and Vancouver. That's also a secondary resource available to you to help you with those types of things. And then third, we have a customer support team that can also answer those types of questions.
Okay, so they will answer questions in regards to making the system work better for us.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. I want to hear the third one. I'm just going to interject for a second. Support is a really big part of the experience with any solution. The support is shared between Sage and BAS. When I say shared, I kind of mean it like the way that I say I share doing the dishes with my wife, where she does 90% of them and I do 10. And the reason that is because for almost all customers, especially on the 300 side, there's customization or personalization configuration that happens with that. So trying to diagnose a specific solution like that, there are many different kind of components that kind of feed into that. Your partner knows those customizations and that configuration better than anybody else, and that's why they lead that support conversation. To Daniel's point with Raul, his team is going to be there to help navigate and help make it efficient if there's a Sage resource to be able to help solve that. But I would say if you're running into consistent, the best place to start, and it's part of the service that you're paying for with BAS, is making sure that you're working with them and having that conversation with them, because you don't want somebody up here blindly saying, hey, this is what the problem is, when it could be 14 different things that are going on there.
Okay, thanks. I think I have called out, I've reached out, and the team's always helping me out. It's just a lot of it is more of the reporting and the formatting of the reporting. So my other questions were actually in regards to formatting of the reporting. But I'll reach out to, I guess, BAS. And I know there's some changes that we've made with the next one was the workman's comp reports and that, and just to set up on that, and we worked on it. And I know reaching out, Anna has reached out to us, and whenever there's enhancements to the report, she'll let us know, something's coming out in January or that. So there's still a little bit more that we want in the report. Is there a way I can make suggestions on what it is that we want to still reach out to the Sport BAS team?
Yeah. You would initially, yes. Short answer is yes. You reach out to BAS first.
Okay.
Just real quick, just show of hands of who here is Sage 300. All right, so Revere, if you want to stand up, so that would be your point of contact for Sage. So that's Revere Sangha. He's been with Sage, I think, for 7 years, coming up on 7 years. So he's just newly in the role. Actually just started, I think, about a month and a half ago. So, but he now is your key point of contact for BAS at Sage.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Revere.
Good morning. Working in a Sage Intacct environment. I'm just wondering if you can give us some insights into the new product innovations that are coming up. Also, with reference to payment processing, I think there's something coming through Intact itself.
There is. So I don't have a list of, do you know the latest features? There is a community, so Sage Intact has quarterly releases, and the next release is called R3, Release 3, and it's coming in August, is my understanding. And one of the things that, I don't know all the features, but I know one specific is related to what you're asking for, is we are adding payment capability, Canadian banks and Canadian payment capabilities in this release. We're going to be working with the top major banks. I know RBC's on that list and various others. But what I would recommend is, if you would like to learn more, reach out to James, and we'll put you in touch with Andrea Ainsley, who is our product manager based in Vancouver, and she'll be able to take you through all of the features, not just the features in the product, but the ones that are specific to the Canadian market.
You know, on that point, so Andrea Ainsley, who's heads up our international development for Sage Intact, she works with BAS and partners to do what we call an R1, R2, R3 readout with them, and host these meetings to be able to. So we do our best to make sure that that's well communicated. If it's not always filtering to them or to you, please feel free to reach out to us, because we absolutely want to make sure that we're sharing that information, because it's, you know, it's an important part of our roadmap. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I'm learning a lot today about some of the other Sage products. We're a Sage 300 product user, just the APGL. And I think if I got it right, X3 is a higher end product with more features, and Intact, I think, is your cloud product. Is there any plans on the roadmap to change the existing Sage 300 on-premise product? Like, I mean, in terms of the way you license it, are you moving to SaaS models? Are you thinking to migrate your customers over to the cloud anytime soon? Or is this kind of, for the foreseeable future, Sage 300 on-premise is here to stay for several years yet to come?
It's a really great question. It's kind of multifaceted. So, you know, on the architecture of the solution itself, almost feels a little bit like, a bit of a dirty swear word for me, but Microsoft kind of question in terms of what they did with GP to Business Central. We're not looking at that same path of taking Sage 300 and re-architecting it as a SaaS solution. You know, companies, publishers, they can make one of two decisions. They can either take a substitution model or kind of an evolution, if you will, model. There's pros and cons to both, quite frankly. And the strategy that we've taken is that Sage 300, we want to continue, to Mark's point earlier today, development on integrate solutions like Lockstep and continue to develop that. But the underlying architecture of it, we don't want to change it. It has great flexibility in the way that it's built right now, and it's not going to be a true SaaS solution. Now, that being said, the other part of that conversation is Sage Partner Cloud. So, you know, we've partnered with partners to be able to provide hosting. Obviously, BAS has BAS hosting, which is a fantastic solution to be able to host Sage 300 and give that same kind of experience. But we are not looking at changing the architecture of Sage 300 itself. Anything you'd add to that, Daniel? Okay. Apparently I answered that correctly.
Am I allowed to ask a second question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. One gift card is fine, by the way. That's good. The second question, it might be too specific for this session, and if it is, maybe just direct me to where I can go to get a specific answer. But we're a long-time Sage user. Like, we're back to the ACPAC DOS, Btrieve, Pervasive SQL.
Nice.
We've
Thank
gone
you
through
for
the whole evolution of the ACPAC process. But we're now with Sage 300 2019. We're migrating to 2023. We have a test server in place. We're actually beginning testing this week, you know, so that's where we are in terms of what we're using. And as I said, just APGL. And over the years, We would do an annual maintenance program to keep our database from basically imploding, right? I mean, we wanted to make sure it was optimized, and it was always a nightmare to do that annual maintenance. It took a long time, and we had to print journals before we could purge journals, and sometimes you'd purge a journal and you'd lose the ability to expand data. So our team just had a lot of frustration figuring out what should we do to do a nice, clean annual maintenance and keep our data. Well, recently, when we migrated to SQL Server, of course, it could handle more data. We didn't have as much problem. And so we just stopped purging. Now, it's been about 10 years, and I'm still wondering whether the database is going to blow up one day on us because, you know, it's just becoming inefficient or grinding to a halt. So I went to talk to 2 partners and give them the opportunity to come in to develop a maintenance plan for us, just to say, can you examine our operation? Can you see what we do? And just put together a maintenance plan that our people can run. And neither seemed to be interested in it, or it just kind of, it was one of those requests that just sort of faded away. So I'm just wondering, is that a problem, like keeping ACPAC data going? Or is it like, no, you know, there's a D-Day is coming for you guys because it's going to grind to a halt if you don't do a certain amount of annual maintenance, cleaning up certain files and tables and that kind of stuff. So just as a general question, and if there's someone who can guide us with expertise, we're willing to pay for someone to come in and help us assess this and put a maintenance plan together for us. But how critical or important is it? And is there someone out there who specializes in this kind of thing that you know of?
So I think it's really important. It's definitely one of those questions that really represents the partnership between BAS and us, because I'm just going to send this right over to Dean.
Yeah, so I'd touch on a couple things you said. If you're APGL, in terms of, you know, the whole SaaS model, we're really close to, you can go complete web interface. If you're just APGL, it's really close. It's an evolution, right? It's getting there piece by piece. If you're APGL, there's one really piece missing that we expect to be released in the fall. That means that you could probably go exclusively web interface if you wanted to. Again, we have offerings where you can have your Sage hosted in the cloud. It's not a SaaS solution, but it's, you know, you're not going to be able to tell the difference, right? It's off-premise, hosted in the cloud, delivered through web screens. So it's effectively the same thing. So point number 1. Point number 2, we can help you with data maintenance. Absolutely reach out to us. We can absolutely provide you with some guidance there and with that service. I would not worry about data accumulation. If you are on a current version of Sage and using SQL Server and you're just using AP and GL, I would not even worry about it. We have customers using, you know, doing hundreds of sales orders a day, you know, 50, 60 users hammering the database. And so if you're doing accounts payable in General Ledger, I can't imagine that you would be putting any strain on that infrastructure as long as it's properly set up. But we can help you with a plan. If you do want to keep things tight and trimmed up, then we can help you with that plan. And there are also, I'm not sure if they're here today, but there's some nice tools for that improve the data maintenance capabilities that are available in Sage to help you do some of the purging much faster than you otherwise could. So we can talk to you about all of those things.
Yeah, I think there's just one more thing I want to mention. So with some of our SaaS solutions like Intact, that maintenance does go away. So that maintenance isn't required. There's no annual upgrades. So if you have an environment, or if you're on one of our products, there are products that actually, like Intact, that don't require that regular maintenance.
Yeah, just to address the last gentleman's question, our company actually has had to go through a couple of purge maintenances because our system became too large. We're doing hundreds of thousands of transactions a month, and our BAS account representative worked together with us to using the software that you've been mentioning, Tyrox, and I believe there's another one. And what we do is we carve out data from maybe 6 years or 7 years and prior. And then what we do is we also move into a database just 2 years of current production, and then we have an archive which we can do lookups. It's one way that's worked for us. and we're just about to start another iteration of that process. But it went fairly well. But my question is also kind of expanding on that, and that is with the new privacy laws and everything happening, companies are not allowed to keep personally identified information in their systems for customers that have deleted more than 7 years. What type of, are you planning on any kind of process or any kind of system to facilitate that? Because what we're just starting to go through now is a fair job to start identifying and picking things out, whereas automating something like that would be beneficial. Are there any plans to go that route in the future?
So my understanding is Sage 300 specifically has some capabilities to support, I think the legislation is called PIPEDA in Canada, to identify and make sure that you are properly securing that data. But let's just double check with the experts, but that's my understanding.
Well, yeah, it's definitely safe. It's encrypted, but the laws are now, and this is just something it's a fairly new thing that's happening.
Yes.
Where data retention is now being attacked. So after 7 years of holding information of clients that you're no longer dealing with, they have to be removed from your systems. So it's just something that's coming up now. We're dealing with it in the method that I just talked about.
Yes.
Removing data that's 7 years and older, and that's the way we're dealing with it. But I know a lot of companies are going to be having this issue coming up very soon.
So let me take that one away and talk to our 300 product manager. His name is Richard Jang. Is he here today? No, he's not here. He'll be able to answer that question. So if you could share your contact information, we can get back to you on that one.
That's great. Thank you.
I just had a question to expand on the AI discussion that we had a little earlier, and you mentioned that it can be used for controls, but in terms of analysis, could you maybe elaborate on maybe anything you're working with AI to support that function in organizations and help us kind of pick out stuff that may be overlooked, for example?
So it varies by product. And it varies based on function. So I would say, which product are you using?
Sage 300.
Okay, so for Sage 300, I think the next AI type feature that you're going to see is called Lockstep. So if you go to lockstep.com, I think it's the website, it does a lot of your AR and AP automation, and it uses a simple inbox tool to identify and automate a lot of your processes around billing and collections and payments and so forth. That product's going to be integrated to Sage 300. They're working on it as we speak. And that will be coming out, I don't know the exact date, but coming out in our next fiscal year. It'll be bundled in to the plan, is my understanding, is how they're going to roll this out. And I think that's going to be a really cool example. You can see how it works today. And it'll be a really cool example of how you can better leverage data, and it'll interpret the data for you so that you can be more efficient and effective. There's other examples of products that we call them challenger brands, that we've purchased a multitude of add-on products that we're going to be bolting on to Sage 300, X3, Intact, and all of our products to add those types of capabilities. There's a lot of innovation, and we've been acquiring a lot of products in that area so that we can provide that capabilities to our customers. So that's the next one I would take a look at, lockstep.com. It's really, really slick. And if you check out the website, you'll see what's coming for Sage 300.
Thank you.
To Daniel's point, when we look at products like X3 and 300, it is definitely going to be looking at the best-in-class ISV solutions that are around that really drive real business needs for you. when we look at a solution like Intact, we've got a group inside of Sage Global called SAIL, the Sage AI Lab. And so they're very busy kind of building AI kind of functionality that will be more natively built into solutions like Sage Intact. But we recognize the fact that that AI capability, automation capability is important on both sides. That's the time that we have for today. Mostly because there's lunch out there and we're all hungry and we need to go get some lunch. So I want to thank you all being customers of Sage, customers of BAS, your patronage with us, and we're not going anywhere. If you've got any other questions for us, please don't hesitate. Thank you so much.